Gamarjoba megobrebo mogesalmebit. I'm Mr. Smith, and today we're looking at the story of Aladdin. Now, when I was a kid, I loved the Disney version of this. It was one of my favorites, but we're not going to be necessarily focusing on that. I'm going to be asking you to focus on this. This is the Sabavshvo Choreograpiul Tetraluri Studia, and they have done a live performance done as a musical in Georgian. And that's the reference point that we're going to be using. In fact, I hope at the end of this tutorial, you follow the link and you find time to watch that performance, meaning that you've really pushed yourself to listen to an extended amount of Georgian and let your ear do the work, because at this stage, it is quite essential. Now, just to help you along, we've got, of course, the main character, Aladini, just like we have in English, just with an I, and then da jadosnuri, lampari. Now, jadosnuri is again a word which appears repeatedly in Georgian lambari, and it just means magical and magic. So, although in fact the word jadu, here jadosnuri as an adjective has its root in other languages. So if you do speak perhaps one of the languages which already use this, I think in Farsi, in Bengali, I won't need to explain this word to you, but from an English language perspective, we just mean sorcery, magic. So, Aladini da jadosnuri lampari. Slide 1 introduces us to Agraba, and the performance starts with this sentence. Mo gesalmebit, zvir paso megobrebo, keteli ichos tkweni mobrzaneba Agraba-shi. And I want us to hear it now.
Mo gesalmebit, zvir paso megobrebo, keteli ichos tkweni mobrzaneba Agraba-shi.
Now, if you pay attention, the intention is to introduce us to Agraba. But have you heard that before? Well, yes. Mogesalmebit megobrebo is how I start my videos. I don't say mogesalmebit zvir paso megobrebo, but I could if I wanted to. And of course, it's my YouTube channel. It's in the virtual world. So I could also say keteli ichos tkweni mobrdzaneba chems my YouTube's archze. And I think pause, take a pen, write it down, because this is something which is copy-pasted prolifically online. Mogesalmebit megobrebo keteli ichos tkweni mobrdzaneba chems or chvens, some people speak in the plural, YouTube's archze. As you start to expose yourself to more listening activities in Georgian, you're going to hear this phrase a lot, and it's worth noting. So let's just listen to it again by the performance.
Mogesalmebit zvir paso megobrebo, keteli ichos tkweni mobrzaneba Agraba-shi.
And of course, like I said, just adapt to that introduction. It's a long way to say welcome. That's my bottom line observation. I will also add that the physical experience, not the virtual experience, could actually change. Someone could say keteli ichos tkweni pechi chems sachlshi, where tkweni pechi is your foot, literally, which means welcome to my home in without needing to translate foot. I believe that your foot in their home is a sign of good luck and fortune. And so it's almost as if may your welcome be good, end well, and be an experience that you forever remember. It almost exists within a fortune casting forecast grammatical world, which I struggled to understand at the beginning. So all I can say is just memorize it. At some stage, you're just going to have to write it out, read it out, and get used to it. Final observation, zvir paso is the vocative form of megobrebo. So it just means dear and precious. It's constructed from two different things. Zviri, which is expensive as an adjective. Pasi, which is price, which would be a noun. Together you get zvir pasi, which is then used, for example, zvir pasi. So zvir pasi means that it's valuable. It doesn't mean that it's expensive price anymore. As a compound word, it means precious. To the extent that you could say zvir pasi adamiani, that would mean a precious person, somebody that you believe you cannot live without. So if we hear just one more time this introduction, mogesalme bi zvir paso megobrebo, keteli ichos tekwani mobrzaneba, Agraba-shi, and that will lead us into the characters of today's story. Slide 2, and where are we? Agraba-shi vart. We are in Agraba. And in these 3 columns, we've got the characters, descriptions of the characters, and then we answer the question where they are from. Because this section here in the green box is absolutely essential in the Georgian language, and it means that we're going to be using Dan to question where is Aladdin from. So this is the hardcore grammatic element, which will be explained soon, and then just the basic element. So we do move from one to the other, A1 to A2 level in Georgian today with this slide. Aladini, matsantsala da kurdia. Matsantsala da kurdia. Aladdin is. And that's why the A is at the end, because it means aris. Aladini matsantsala da kurdi aris. But in spoken Georgian, and by the end of the A1 level, you should know already that that's at the end and simply a. In fact, it's at the end of all of our examples on this slide, and at the end of all of the examples on the green box, except in this case there's a double a, and that's why they're together. One other addition is that's why in my YouTube channel it's Paraskevia. It's not Paraskevi, which just means Friday, it means it's Friday, which is more with an exclamation, it is Friday. So indeed in English we also have short versions, and so does Georgian. Matsantsala da kurdia, a vagabond and a thief. Genie, machiaruli da lurgia. Lurgi, genie, j. Machiaruli da lurgia, genie. Borot'i, jadokaria, Jafari. Borot'i means evil. Jadokari means wizard, right? Now, the word jado, which we saw in the very beginning, of course, meaning magic. Jadokari means a magic man, wizard, sorcerer, and so on. Borot'i just means evil. In fact, in some versions, kids' versions that you can buy in the shops here, his name isn't Japari. His name is Borot'i Jadokari. So just pay attention to that. And then Lamazi Princesa. No? Jzasmini. Lamazi Princesa. What I want to say, here the word ends in an A, aris an additional A. You don't necessarily have to overpronounce these doubles A's, which is what I did. I just thought, because I was trying to learn, it's hugely essential. But it's a little bit convoluted, I would say. So when we have, for example, Saidana, which is where is Aris, no, where is something from, where is Aladdin from, the genie from, and so forward. The A is basically one A orally. So Saidana is Kuchidana. He's from the street. As you can probably see, the word Kucha, which simply means street, has lost the A. And I wanted to start with this example because Kucha is the street as you find it in a dictionary. But Kuchidana is from the street. He is from the street, Aladdin. And so when we talk about where somebody's from, that would often include a city, the name of a continent even. So America ends in an A. So Amerikidan. The A is removed, idan is added. In all other cases with the vowel sound ending a, e, I, o, u, it's only A that has this change. So pay attention to it. You won't see the same thing in the word lampari, because lampari has an I at the end. So lampridan a. Jadosnuri lampridana. Now, if you've obviously noticed thinking, well, where's the other A gone? Well, that's why I said that this is from A1 to A2. When we put things in the case system in Georgian, simply vowels appear and reappear. This is a concept known as kumshva, and it's not in all words, but it's in a few. In this case, it's just complicated the story a bit in terms of grammar, but lampridana from the lampari. But let's go back to what we just learned. Agraba. Agraba ends with an A, that has to go. We need to add idan. Agrabidana. Who is from Agraba? Well, Borot'i jadokariya. The evil wizard is from Agraba. Saidana is Agrabidana. He is from Agraba. Sasakhli, here we've got the word here, hasn't changed at all. Sasakhli is the word, as you find it in the dictionary. It ends in an I. Technically speaking, it ends in an L, because this is the root. The I is in fact the case marker, and so what's happened really is Dan has been added to Sakhli. But again, it's about deconstructing words and reconstructing words. We're not going to go too into detail with this today's tutorial, but Sasakhli Dan na, and that would be the princess. So what we've effectively done is add Dan to everything, but only in the case where the word ends in an A, the A disappears, and we need idan. So just as a final element, that if we are talking about things like from tree to tree, from childhood to adulthood, from Wednesday to Friday, from 6 until 9, from home to work, that from and to construction is also requires good control of this part, because they are the A and B from my house to your house. That at this stage, what's obviously important is how the noun ends. And then, like we've learned just now, if it ends in an A, you need to stick idan and not simply dan. Slide 3, and we're looking at the wishes, and the lamp changes hands. So the first person to wish is Aladdin. What does he wish for? He wishes to be a prince. Minda. But in the videos, both of which you're going to hear memsurs, because it's sur really is a wish. Memsurs kind of fits within the genre of wishing. Princi, vicho, gauchde. Vicho is to be. That's what you will hear. But gauchde was also used. It was used interchangeably in the 3 versions of Aladdin that I'm going to link. So that's why it's there. Ubradzana Aladdin ma jeans. Commanded Aladdin to the genie. Remember, Aladdin ma, he's the commander of the command which the genie responded to. Sur viliachta, and Aladdin becomes the prince. This alerts the attention of Jafar, and he essentially almost kills Aladdin, and that's why there was no second wish, so to speak. Aladdin lost consciousness. The genie wished on his behalf, and wished. It was very complicated to translate into Georgian, and that's why I didn't really write anything there. I couldn't do it, so there was no wish. Doing something on behalf of somebody else because they were unconscious, I just couldn't get it right. There was no command, and I also didn't think it fitted into the slide because no one necessarily commanded anyone to do so. The genie, by his own volition, volunteered to give the wish to Aladdin without him knowing, because he was submerged underwater and deprived of oxygen. It was way too complicated. Anyway, Jafar gets the lamp. Right, let's move forward because we're really going to go from wish to wish. Oh, you see, that's a wasted opportunity. Survilidan, survilamde. From wish to wish. Okay, so I'm going to put something in there. But yes, that does illustrate my point. And yes, we are going from wish to accelerate the end of the story. Minda rom Agraba-s sultani gavchte. Gavchte, to become. He could have said vicho. He could have said memsurs. Both styles are achieving the same result. Utkra Jafarma jeans. Stated and commanded, almost insisted at this stage, but basically said, stated, Jafar. It's his first wish and he wants to make it count. Rom. I could have used rom here. One thing you will notice is that the comma rom, to some extent, especially after this memsurs and minda, you don't have to say rom. But in the English translation, that's why I felt it was, I want that I become Agrab's sultan. It really wasn't necessarily the best translation, was it? So you don't need the rom. And in fact, in the fourth wish, we're not using it. It didn't work. They didn't care. He more or less wasted his wish, and now Jafar, as a sultan, is annoyed. Minda bicho. Kwelaze zlieri jadokari. And he's super annoyed. Mostkova sultan ma jeans. Mostrova, the word strova just means ask. Strova. It's another way to say ask, demand from, maybe demand even. Mostrova, of course, is a firm demand. I firmly request this. So, minda vicho kwelaze zlieri jadokari. Mostrova sultanma jeans. And surviliachta, and he becomes the most powerful magician. The last slide, and there are 2 wishes left. Jafar still has the lamp, but he's still hungry for more power and realizes the genie has more. So he says to the genie, Memsurs genie gachvde. Memsurs genie vicho. Ubradzana, jadokarma, jeans. Commanded the sorcerer to the genie. Memsurs genie vicho. And the wish comes true. He becomes a genie, but also has to live in a lamp, and therefore he's powerless and loses his freedom. On the other hand, Aladdin's last wish, he wishes the genie free from slavery. So we see that number 5 and number 6 have a change of roles and a change of situation. Mindarom tavisupali icho utkra Aladdin ma jeans. And that absence of the V from vicho, which is what the genie is always hearing all the time, to icho, you. I want you to be free. Mindarom tavisupali icho. Well, with that, Utkra Aladdin ma jeans, the genie is set free. And that's the end of the story. But what I thought would be interesting just to close would be that monoba, slavery, as a noun, of course, isn't a physical place, it's more of a concept. And many of these conceptual nouns are ending in an A. And so they're going to be subject to losing that A if we're going to say from slavery to freedom. Tavesupleba also is freedom. So monoba, tavesupleba, depending on which way we look at it, either Jafar's perspective or the genie's perspective, on both occasions the A will be removed when we use the preposition dan. So let's just take a look at it. So mono bidan, the A is removed. Monobidan, tavesuplebamde. Tavesupleba remains exactly the same as it is in its original form. We just add mde. And then look at the other one, from freedom to slavery. Tavisuple bidan. Again, the A is removed. Tavisuple bidan. Monobamde. Monobamde. So, just for us to introduce this concept, I really want to make a video strictly looking at this structure, but I just wanted you to see what I was introducing at the very beginning of the class. This transformation of the A, very common in such type of nouns. And then, of course, barely any change when the to form is being used and the word ends in an A. So, that's it. That's the end of the story.